Ladies and gentlemen, the swamp creatures are about to meet their match. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, now heading Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE, well, they're unleashing the biggest waste-cutting operation in American history. And just when the bureaucrats thought it couldn't get worse, Marjorie Taylor Greene steps in as the chair of the DOGE Oversight Committee. The same people who laughed at Trump's drain the swamp promises aren't laughing anymore. With every federal dollar now under scrutiny and remote work privileges about to end, Washington's paper pushers are in full panic mode. But what they're really afraid of is what's going to happen next. Just as DOGE is exposing government waste, VirtualShield exposes and eliminates digital threats. While Elon and Vivek track every dollar, malware attacks have increased by 643% since 2020, with government employees being prime targets. Don't let your private data become part of the deep state's collection. VirtualShield's award-winning protection keeps your devices secure from the same threats targeting our government systems. Join the digital resistance today and get up to 75% off during their Black Friday special. The link is down below, virtualshield.com/nextnews. Remember, in the war for privacy, you're either protected or you are exposed. And speaking of being exposed, Vivek Ramaswamy has just announced that he will be pausing his own weekly podcast to launch a new show with Elon Musk. And it's going to be called the Dogecast, which they will use to give the nation regular updates on their cost cutting. Let's listen.
As part of that process, I'm now all in. I'm focused on making sure that we actually accomplish the goal rather than just talking about it. So to that end, for the next little bit, I'm going to put a pause on the weekly truth podcasts. I've enjoyed doing it this year. It's been incredibly fun and entertaining. I've learned from a lot of the guests, and I've enjoyed communicating with all of you. We're going to put that on pause for a little bit. And as you may have heard, Elon and I are going to start a separate track of Dogecasts that explain exactly what we're doing to the public to provide transparency in what is a once-in-a-generation project. We want to bring the public along with us, to lift the curtain, to take us behind the scenes of what actually that waste, fraud, and abuse in government looks like. However bad you think it is, it's probably worse. But we don't want to do this to just expose the problem. We want to do it to solve the problem. So stay tuned. We're going to have more information about when those Dogecasts are going to begin. We are neck deep right now in transitioning to the new dawn on January 20th. But in the meantime, I thank all of you for your journey this year, for joining us. I've loved doing the truth, and we're just going to put it on pause for a little bit to hopefully embark on this new chapter of saving our republic. Stay tuned for further details, and we'll be in touch.
It's amazing, really, to watch the transformation. For Vivek Ramaswamy to be, obviously, with his presidential campaign was one thing, but Elon Musk and his transformation from, being on the left to supporting DeSantis, bringing that X space forward that obviously collapsed, but then to see Musk go on the campaign trail, Musk hanging out at Mar-a-Lago, Musk being part of this new Department of Government Efficiency, to now doing a podcast with Vivek Ramaswamy. I mean, this man is all in, and I'm here for every minute of it. Now, there's a lot going on with this whole transition and all the different appointments. Well, a friend of mine is somebody who I would love to see in the administration. Brick Suit posted this about 6 hours ago. America needs nuclear energy in its future. I'm hoping that J.R. Majewski finds a spot high up in the energy department to help out. He's in the industry, will advocate for next-gen nuclear tech, and is loyal to President Trump. Give J.R. a boost, people. And J.R.'s campaign was endorsed by President Trump. I actually met JR at a fundraiser with, I believe it was Sarah Huckabee Sanders. That's where it was at Trump Tower, Chicago. And I've become great friends with JR, and I would love to see him working in the administration. So anything you guys can do, tweet about it. If you got any influence in those circles, help JR get into that position. So not only are we seeing the dismantling of the bureaucratic administrative state, we're finding this out, that the Dismantle DEI Act, which Senator J.D. Vance sponsored, just got approved by the committee after Congressman Michael Cloud masterfully supported it. Listen to this.
A stain. Diversity, equity, inclusion are three words that don't necessarily mean what we think they mean. And in spite of the altruistic motives of some of the purveyors of it, diversity, equity, inclusion, as it's been initiated in our federal government as an ideology, seeks to categorize individuals based on their immutable characteristics. It is a rejection of the principles that people should be judged on the content of their character and their individual achievement rather than their sex, race, national origin, or ethnicity. DEI is a huge step backwards for our country. It has taken generations, not to mention a civil war, a civil rights movement, to move past a stain on our nation's history. But we have made tremendous progress. But to codify discrimination in an effort to remove discrimination is a woeful initiative and would undo generations of progress we have made as a nation on this. Every tear, every drop of blood, the sweat of our founders, our forefathers that have fallen would be in vain for us to continue and to reverse the path that we have. True justice is blind. It should not consider race or sex. And it's the duty of us as lawmakers to write just laws, and it's the duty of the executive branch to be just in administering them without deference to race, creed, religion.
So DEI is now on the chopping block, finally. Pete Hegseth, 14 hours ago, Trump's nominee for Secretary of Defense, speaking to the press on Capitol Hill. The audio is a little boomy, so just bear with me here.
Very seriously, I want to thank the President of the United States for this amazing, humbling opportunity to be nominated to lead the Department of Defense. It's an incredible opportunity that we do not take lightly. I just want to thank the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, who spent the morning with me, meeting with Senators of the United States. We take very seriously the advice and consent role that the U.S. Senate has. We look forward to engaging in that process. We take absolutely nothing for granted, and we welcome the opportunity to talk to any senator that wants to talk to us.
Did you sexually assault a woman in Monterey, California?
I have, as far as the media is concerned, I'll keep this very simple. The matter was fully investigated, and I was completely cleared, and that's where I'm going to leave it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they're going to keep attacking him. Vivek Ramaswamy, looking forward to working together with Congress. Proper oversight of agencies and public transparency is critical. So here's Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene with her big news. James Comer is about to create the GOP oversight of DOGE subcommittee chaired by Marjorie Taylor Greene to work with Elon and Vivek. So that's huge news. So she's going to be the head of that subcommittee. And why is DOGE so important? Well, it's going to be a game changer.
We have debt payments. The fact is we're running right now a deficit of $1.8 trillion a year. We have now debt payments because we have $36 trillion in debt. We have debt payments that's just below $1 trillion a year. There's some models that's going to show if we continue down this path, we're going to be adding $1 trillion of debt every quarter. So that means we're going to be adding $4 trillion of debt every quarter. It's not sustainable. And you're going to tell me that there's not efficiencies that we could find, and there's not dollars that we can save. There is no way that anybody convince me that Elon cannot find $1.8 trillion of wasteful government spending. I'm convinced we can do this. If we can balance our budget, just balance our budget, and then have at least a 2.5% or 3% growth year after year, then we can actually start paying down our debt. Absolutely. And not saddle the generations come behind us. Because right now, every child in America is saddled with $106,000 of debt. The fact is,
so there's going to be some huge cuts. Now, some other news happened today. Totally fake news. I started getting phone calls, text messages. Something happened in Mar-a-Lago. Everybody was freaking out. People were afraid that something happened to Trump again, another attack. It was totally fake news. Trump advisor Stephen Chung called the legacy media reporter who falsely reported a medical emergency at Mar-a-Lago a effing dummy. Yeah. Ambulances and Secret Service vehicles seen driving around Mar-a-Lago were simply part of J.D. Vance's motorcade. But you had the fake news media just going bananas, causing a lot of panic today. Thankfully, nothing happened. Now, here's Alina Habba talking about these new members of the administration.
A reason. I think at the end of the day, when they speak to President Trump, and President Trump is not shy to voice his opinions as to why he's chosen people, all of the people that he has picked from transition, all the people that he is putting in is for a purpose, a reason, and has been calculated and decided with a lot of methodical teamwork, et cetera, and they will get behind it. We need strong America First people in the administration. We cannot have people weak at the knees. And President Trump is picking every single person for the sole purpose of cleaning up a mess very quickly, because he's only got 4 years to do it, and he will do it with this team.
4 years. Here's Steve Bannon. Every dollar spent in our government budget is tracked through the OMB. And he details how DOGE will work in unison. Listen.
And then it's finally negotiated and passed. Every program, when you pass this budget, right, when you do the appropriations, you pass overall budget to kind of get your top line number. You then have the appropriations process where you fight it through. And then it's finally negotiated and passed. Once it goes over, it's like, well, then what happens? How do people get the money? Well, it's broken down. Office of Management budget is out to every agency, the Defense Department, the Agriculture Department, the Interior Department, the Treasury Department. How that $6.5 or $7 trillion gets spent, wow. Believe it or not, it's all tracked down to literally the penny, when it goes in, where it goes, who got the money, and programmatically where they stand on doing whatever they do. So although it may seem vastly inefficient, and it is tracked. Like MTG was on here today, say, hey, we've given $250 billion to Ukraine, and she's asking for an audit, and we haven't got anything because they're sitting there going, I don't know where it goes. I don't know where it is. They're lying to her. She knows they're lying to her. So programmatically, OMB is a beast. And the head of OMB has immense and enormous power. This is why I keep talking about the DOGE element. And now I think because the way the DOGE, and let's leave the bro side aside because they're beating on chest, and that's great. We need that. That energy helped us win on November 5th, and we need that. We need more of that. But in the reality of how actually things are going to get accomplished, if you read the DOGE layout, it's not a new department. It is a group of outside, and they're very upfront, Vivek and Elon. We are outside the government, advisors and consultants to, wait for it, OMB. And this makes incredible sense. It's very smart. The DOGE, and they're going to have their own group. And, of course, MTG's got the subcommittee on oversight, which I also think is brilliant, to now kind of work in unison with Russ Vought and his team on the Project 2025. Did I say that? I love triggering the libs, owning the libs. With the Project 2025 guys that may or may not be coming on board. In this regard, if you want to get control of the Leviathan, you get control of the cash. Remember in Watergate? Follow the money. Follow the money. Here, it is the money of not the sources of cash, which is a problem and an issue. This is the uses of cash. You have sources and uses. Anytime you do a financing or a merger, acquisition, restructuring, bankruptcy, sources of cash, uses of cash. This is the uses side. And this is where Vivek and Elon and others are going to go through and see how you deconstruct this entity called a state or a government, right? State power, to actually come together and to try to take programmatically, because it's not always fraud and abuse. It's going to become programs. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do this. The private sector can do it, or we incentivize people to do it.
Bingo. So this is huge, folks. Here is Ronnie Jackson.
But look, what he's doing, Maria, is he's putting people in place that have a record of doing what they say they're going to do, being aggressive, working for the American people, pushing back on the government bureaucracy. This is what we need right now. President Trump has an absolute mandate to turn this country around, to salvage what's left of this country after the Biden administration, and to make this country great. And he will do it. But he's only going to be able to do it if he has the right people in the jobs, the people that are not afraid to take risk, and the people that, that basically come in with a little bit of an axe to grind. And that's what I'm excited to see. All these people coming in, Tom Homan and Matt Gaetz and, and everybody else that, that's out there that's being talked about. They have an agenda, and that agenda is for the American people. Well,
now he brought up Matt Gaetz. Obviously, this was recorded before Gaetz withdrew from the nomination and Pam Bondi put in his place. But again, I fall back to the 4D chess scenario, where Gaetz could be installed as the senator from Florida. And that could have been the long game all along. And, okay, then there's this talk about the FBI director. And let's listen to Kash Patel here.
Okay, I want the 9/11 files. I want this. I want that. All the FBI need a 20...
FBI director. It certainly is a strong possibility. I hope it happens, personally. Some of the other names are terrifying.
President Trump is putting together
This is Caroline Leavitt, and she is now officially been tapped to be the White House press secretary.
Putting together a brilliant cabinet of fantastic America First fighters, from Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, who are going to cut the waste out of our federal bureaucracy, to Susie Wiles, who is going to serve as the first female chief of staff in history. Take that, Mark Cuban, to Tom Homan. No one better to secure the border than him. And I'm so excited to speak on behalf of a president who just received a resounding mandate from the American people to deliver on the promises that he made on the campaign trail. We have the House, we have the Senate. President Trump is going to get to work on day one to implement real change that will deliver real relief and support to the American people who are struggling right now under the Harris-Biden administration.
It's happening, friends. Phil Holloway. So Senator John Thune told Brett Baer that only 6% of federal employees are back on the job in person. This feels like a job for DOGE. Completely unacceptable. Yes, the ambulances at Mar-a-Lago turned out to be a false alarm, according to Raheem Kassam and the guy who started the rumor itself. Yeah. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, the co-leaders of what President-elect Donald Trump has called the Department of Government Efficiency, said on Wednesday they supported requiring federal employees to work from the office 5 days a week. So the vacation is over for all of those government parasites.
I just called Dave
Yes,
McCormick.
it was a false alarm today at Mar-a-Lago. Reports of ambulances leaving Mar-a-Lago coming from a fake CBS pool of reporters. They are not authorized by Team Trump.
To congratulate him.
Democrat Bob Casey officially conceded the race for Senate in Pennsylvania to Dave McCormick. This is a huge win. We successfully stopped this steal. Listen.
Vote was the first. I just called Dave McCormick to congratulate him on his election to represent Pennsylvania in the United States Senate. As the first count of ballots is completed, Pennsylvanians can move forward with the knowledge that their voices were heard, whether their vote was the first to be counted or the last. This race was one of the closest in our Commonwealth's history, decided by less than a quarter of a point.
Yeah, goodbye. Mar-a-Lago ambulances, yes, were part of Vice President-elect Vance's motorcade. Epoch Time says a survey conducted after President-elect Donald Trump's win earlier this month shows that a plurality of Americans want his incoming administration to focus on tackling inflation. Going back to J.R. Majewski, yeah, that was the energy nuclear czar under Biden, and this is who we need under Trump. Joey Manarino, I don't know about you, but I'd love to see J.R. Majewski as Deputy Secretary of Energy. When he ran for Congress, he was endorsed. J.D. Vance, Vivek, Matt Gaetz, Corey Mills, Byron Donalds, Rick Grinnell, Kash Patel, and President Trump himself. He needs to be in the administration. He's got my vote. The Border Observer reporting this: Texas is offering 1,400 acres for migrant detention center. The Texas General Land Office has proposed leasing land for a detention facility to the incoming administration of President-elect Donald Trump. Elon Musk adding a couple flags to his quote tweet here on Senator John Cornyn. Requiring federal employees to come to the office 5 days a week would result in a wave of voluntary terminations that we welcome. If federal employees don't want to show up, American taxpayers shouldn't be paying the bill. Billboard Chris, DOGE, run by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, taking aim at the $300 million in federal funds given to Planned Parenthood. $300 million is what they receive. In addition to performing abortions, Planned Parenthood provides cross-sex hormones with no safeguarding on the first appointment at most of its nearly 600 locations. So that is on the chopping block as well. And we're learning this too. John Basham, promotion delayed for the general who oversaw the botched Afghanistan withdrawal. Appears the Republican senator put a secret hold on the promotion pending Trump's expected firing of Lieutenant General Christopher Donahue when he takes office. Oh, and this was great. Elon Musk, look at that target. He's quote tweeting this from Rothmus, who simply posted a picture of a Ron Paul post. Think about what this means. Elon Musk is saying that Ron Paul is on target. Ron Paul and Elon have been talking about Ron Paul working with the Doge. Now look, this is what Ron Paul says. 1913, the year that led to today's economic torture. Both the income tax and the Fed were created that year. The income tax made everyone's earnings the property of the government first. What the government allows people to keep is then relentlessly stolen by the Fed's inflation. Elon Musk, working with Ron Paul, absolutely game-changing that he would post this. They understand the danger of the income tax and the Federal Reserve. Knowing that Elon Musk and Vivek and Marjorie Taylor Greene are going to be working with DOGE to cut the fat, and with the new Secretary of Commerce coming in, who doesn't want the income tax either, wants to replace it with tariffs, we are going to see a revolutionary change in the federal government that we have never seen before. Washington Times reports RFK Jr. targeting corporate influence at health agencies, vows to examine the root causes of disease. X22 report also reporting Ron Paul explains it all started 1913. Elon lets everyone know that he's on target. Here is Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about the DOGE committee with Elon and Vivek.
$1 trillion. This is a real subcommittee, and I'm very excited about this opportunity, Steve. This is the whole reason why I ran for Congress. I ran for Congress to gut the federal government of waste, fraud, and abuse and get rid of the unelected bureaucrats and the horrible spending and ridiculous programs that have brought us to $36 trillion in debt. I also ran for Congress to make sure that we pass President Trump's agenda, and that was back in 2020. You know, I was one of those people that was upset about Paul Ryan and about how the Republican-controlled Congress never got Trump's agenda done. Well, this is an opportunity, being the chair of a subcommittee on DOGE, where I will finally get to work on the very things that led me to run for Congress in the first place. It's also one of the most important things we can get done in the Trump administration, and this is a one-time opportunity through President Trump and his appointment for Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to lead up this DOGE commission. This is going to be almost 2-year process going into July of 2026, where it will be an entire process. But the subcommittee on oversight is extremely important piece, because this is the way Congress can work hand in hand to expose everything that needs to be exposed, things that people have heard about but they've never seen.
Yep.
And we can do that through this subcommittee on oversight. This is
and we're going to see it because, like I said, they're going to have a freaking podcast. They're going to have a website. We're going to be able to vote on what to get rid of. It is going to be a true process. Oh, I know we have this. Bill Clinton's back. Says Trump wants yes men surrounding him. Well, I would hope so.
That he's interested in people who are loyal to him 100% of the time, no matter what the issue, no matter what the facts, no matter who gets hurt. He wants people who just say yes and then get after it first. Second, he believes that his supporters have no confidence whatever in the federal government.
We don't.
And Lord knows he's done everything he could to destroy that confidence. He's interested.
Oh, yeah. Blaming Trump, sure. So 5 hours ago, Trump is considering Kash Patel for Deputy FBI Director, former Congressman Mike Rogers as well. We do not want Mike Rogers as the head of the FBI. Eric Darty states that the plan could please both. Okay, Trump considers Kash Patel for Deputy FBI Director and former Congressman Mike Rogers as FBI Director. This according to CNN. They state here that the plan could please both Senate Republicans concerned about Trump's plans to disrupt the FBI while also appeasing MAGA orbit that has been frustrated about why more of their allies haven't been placed into top jobs, sources told CNN. Well, we do not want Mike Rogers anywhere near that position at all. Here we have more on DOGE, but let's go to John Bolton. Okay, this guy thinks that the money from DOGE should go to the Pentagon to fund more wars.
Look, Musk may have a big role here. It's not entirely clear what Trump is going to do with this Department of Government Efficiency. If we can save a couple $100 billion, I'd be delighted. We can spend it on the defense budget, which desperately needs an increase.
Desperately, they can't even pass an audit. They need an increase. This guy's out of his mind. Out of his mind. Here's more on DOGE with Jesse Waters.
Do you see this, Jesse? A lot of people don't show up for work in the government, and they haven't since COVID. The National Archives were literally shut down for over 2 years. Veterans couldn't get their information from anybody because nobody showed up for work. Do you see this as a sea change for that?
That's a good way to get people to retire early.
Yes.
5-day work week, get back to the office. You know what? I'm sorry. Give me a severance. Or if they're going to relocate an agency to, let's say, Wyoming, goodbye, I'm going to maybe work in the private sector. I love DOGE because it's so simple, even I can understand it. They're there to cut regulations, cut headcount, and cut costs. Because you have unelected bureaucrats making rules and regulations that, as the Supreme Court said, they're not supposed to be doing. So they're going to put all these little DOGE elves into these agencies and use AI to identify where these stupid regulations are and then present it to the president so he can nullify it. And then if you have these regulations cut, you need less workers to enforce these stupid regulations or create new regulations. And then the costs are ridiculous. I just found out that this stupid guy, what was his name? The guy that leaked all that stuff with Comey, who cares? He had a $70,000 desk that he ordered for the Department of Justice.
Wow.
A $70,000 desk? What the hell is that? They also had a study for $1.5 million to find out why prisoners wanted to escape from prison.
To get out.
These are the kind of things that are just like a no-brainer. You just get that off the books. And then Greg mentioned this before. They actually have a deadline.
Jesse.
Good. Time to cut it all out. This is going to be absolutely huge. I am here for every minute of it. We're going to continue to track this. Get J.R. Majewski into the administration on energy. We need him there. So many great things are happening, and we're going to be here for every moment of it, bringing you the latest as it happens. I want to make sure I got all my points out to you guys. Yep. So there it is. The revolution isn't just being televised, it's being run by the most efficient minds in America. While bureaucrats scramble to hide their bloated budgets, DOGE is following every dollar, every waste, and every fraud. But here's what the establishment fears most. This isn't just about cutting waste, it's about a complete systemic reform. So show your support for the Waste Busters with our new Mag Avengers collection at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Oh yes, it's got the deep state trembling, featuring Elon and Ron Paul. But now the question remains, is this just about saving taxpayer dollars, or is this the beginning of the complete dismantling of the administrative state? Share your thoughts below. Will DOGE succeed where others have failed, or will the deep state find a way to preserve their power?